Hi guys, I'm Dave from Digital Dave Photography, and today I'm going to be doing a quick review of the Bowens XMS 1000 monolight. I wanted to go Bowens for studio and wedding photography for a couple of reasons. The main reason was the popular and readily available modifiers. So for example, if you were ever looking for a speed ring for a softbox or a reflector dish, it was just easier to find one for Bowens than any of the other brands out there. Another reason I went with Bowens was the remote trigger system. This was great for me as I shoot a lot of weddings, and the times where speed lights just won't cut it with the ceiling being too high to bounce off, or there's a big group shot to be done. I put one of these units all the way up in the balcony and firing it up at the ceiling. And I want to be able to change the power without having to walk over to the light myself or yelling at an assistant to change the power up or down. Let's quickly go over how this system works. You'll notice that this light is currently off. To turn the light on, all I have to do is press this button here, and there we go. To increase the power of the light by 1/10 of a stop at a time, all I have to do is press another button here, which I'll demonstrate in a second for you. And as you can see on the back here, as I'm pressing on the remote, it's going up in 1/10 of a stop. It can't go up in full stops purely by the remote. It has to be done with the turn knob on the back here. So to increase the power by a full stop, you just turn this knob on the back here, and if we rotate it just slightly, you'll see it go up in 1/10 of a stop, go up to the 5th level, and if we hold it in and rotate it, it goes up full stop, like that. Another cool thing this trigger can do is you can turn the modeling light on and off as well, and it should be here. There we go. Now what I'm going to demonstrate is the light going up in power, one stop at a time. I'm going to demonstrate the modeling lamp going up and down first using the remote control. It only goes up in 1/10 of a stop, and it should, if we see here, it getting stronger, and that's it up full. So we currently have the light set to proportional, which means that whatever we have the flash power set to, the modeling lamp will be set to the same power. So if I demonstrate as we turn the power up, you'll see the modeling lamp going up in strength as well. And let's bring that back down, that was it. This is incredible for video production as well, as you can put the lights up really high. Actually, my key light has been out of arm's reach, and I'll be able to turn the light up and down using my trigger, whatever looks best for this video. It's much easier than having to lower the light, change the light, and then raise the light back up. One more note about this remote, this thing is a transmitter and a receiver. So if you wanted to, you could trigger other flashes with this as well. And it also has inputs and outputs on each side. So let me show you the back of the light, and I'll run through some of the features that this light has. Okay, so if we start from the right here, we have the modeling lamp feature button, would we call it this? So currently it's set to proportionate, and if we press it in, it'll turn the lamp, modeling lamp off and back on. However, if you hold it in, it'll turn it to free mode, so that you can control the flash and the modeling lamp independently. Beside that, we have the beep and dim button. Currently it's set to both, so if I fire a flash, it will do exactly that. The modeling lamp dims until it's ready to fire again, and it lets you know with a beep and the modeling lamp coming back to full strength. Moving along again, we move here. It has the radio cell button. I'm actually not even going to go into that. In the centre here we have the rotational dial, as I mentioned earlier. Rotating this clockwise direction increases the power, anti-clockwise brings it back down in power. As you can see, if you change the power of the light, you will see the centre light flicker, and that's it doing its sort of auto dump. It won't actually physically drop a flash, but if you've went from full power and you've dropped it to its lowest power setting, it's not going to fire a full powered flash. And then to the left of this again, we have just the test button, like so. To the left here we have a menu button. I'm not going to dive into the menu system because I haven't fully figured it out myself. And to the left again, I don't know if you can see this. Cameraman, can you see this? The far left there we have the on standby button. As simple as that. Now one of the things I don't know if you'll be able to hear with this light is that it's fan cooled. So it's not ridiculously loud, but it kind of sounds like a laptop fan. And that's fine because it keeps it cool, you know, it's not loud, but it's just a note to kind of keep for yourselves. One of the biggest features that Bowens have changed or upgraded on this light would be the way in which the light tilts, pivots and rotates. So in the older lights it used to be a turning knob, which we'll demonstrate in a second. With this new system, all you do is you pull the lever forward and then you just rotate it like so to any liking, and then when you've got it in the correct position that you're looking for, simply pull it across and it's locked in place. To demonstrate the flash duration of the new XMS1000, what I'm going to do is a super scientific test, the wave test. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get an assistant to come in and I'm going to just ask her to just quickly wave as quick as she can, and the flash duration is hopefully going to freeze the motion, and we're going to compare the results of the XMS1000 to some of the other Bowens ranges out there, and we're going to compare them. I'll put some results on screen. Say hello. Come over.
Hello.
So this is Caitlin and she's going to be doing our wave and punch test. Commence the scientific wave test. Go ahead. Just wave your hand as quick as you can and... So this is Bruce Lee's 6-inch punch. Take it. Ready? Go ahead.
Okay.
And then the punch, you make punch, punch. Because this is serious scientific work. What good researcher wouldn't be in his own video. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go. So if we quickly just turn this unit on here, presented with a nice digital readout, and here we are. This is our sort of, it looks quite complex, but after 10-15 minutes of faffing about with it, you get used to it quite quickly. So here's your kind of standard readout. As you can see here, it's telling you what channel you're on, channel 2, which group you're on, your modelling light power and your flashlight power, and your battery indicator here. So one of the things I really don't like about this flash unit, trigger should I say, is the fact that all of these buttons here don't have any labels. There's no sort of indication to what these buttons do, so you do have to do a bit of trial and error. But it's not rocket science, but it is slightly annoying. It'd be better if it was laid out. So I'm going to quickly go through the menu system, and a lot of it's self-explanatory, so I'm not going to go into it too much, but I just want to show you guys roughly what it is you'd be getting. So as you can see here, the channel, the group setting, you go through any number of groups you want to go through. The mode, so if you want it in transmitter mode or down to receive mode. The fast sync mode, this is for the, what was the leaf shutter cameras. I'm not going to go into that too much because that's not for me. I'm using a DSLR, so that's no benefit to me. Next up is the modelling. That turns the modelling light on and off, nice and simple. The modelling mode. So this is, I spoke slightly on this earlier. This is the free mode, which means that you can independently change the modelling lamp power and the flash power. If it's on proportionate, okay, it's just doing that. I'll need to change how long it stays on each menu, so I'll need to kind of bounce in between the two, I'm sorry. If it's on proportionate, it's the flash power and the modelling lamp power are the same. Free is exactly that, it's free, you can do whatever you want. And auto, I don't know, I would never be in auto ever. This is to be able to turn the head on and off, very simple and straightforward. The indication mode, some people like the beep, some people like the dim to let you know that the light's ready to fire again. I've got it on both. I like the dim and beep, lets me know when we're good to go. Sleep time, so the sleep time, again, everything's very straightforward. So this is how long the trigger will stay on for before it powers down from its last use. This kind of saves battery power, I guess. The sync, off cell or pre-cell, so this is beneficial if you want to use the trigger maybe as a slave system to set up, you know, various light systems. Recharge speed, this was interesting, so I've got it at 100% just now, but you know, if you wanted to, you know, prolong the life of your tubes and, you know, like some of the internal circuitry, you know, it's good to have that option if you know, if speed isn't a factor. You know, it's not like it slows it down incredibly, but it's a wee bit easier on the light's guts. Let's just say that. Display on time, that's, again, everything's straightforward, guys. I'm sorry, I'm telling you what you already know. The display on time is obviously how long this display stays on for before it goes to sleep. So I have it set up as remote and trigger. You can obviously set it up as just a trigger only, but I like being able to use this to change the power settings of the modern lamp and actually being able to turn the light on and off, etc. Some of the things that I spoke of earlier. And then obviously there's remote only there as well. So I'm going to leave it in remote and trigger. Input, sync, offset. I'm not going to go into this because this is something that can quickly be quite complex, and it's not something I don't think I would use, at least not at this time. Channel cycling again. Am I saying quite a lot? Okay, sorry. Channel cycling goes through all the channels. This is to ent for enter. I don't know why they couldn't fit ER at the end of there. Enter to start pairing, so that's a one button press. You hit the button in the middle here and one on the back of the light, and that pairs it up. And here we are back at the menu on time again. The extended mode, this just allows a couple more features for the leaf shutter cameras, but I'm not going to go into it because it's not something that, again, I'd be using. So that was a quick layout of the actual trigger. Build quality wise, I mean, it's plastic, but I mean, it feels like a pretty robust, decent plastic as far as plastics go, I guess. You know, there's no sort of creaking, bending. Okay, so this is how the trigger will look, guys. On the sides here we have the output. This is your micro USB port for firmware updates. Your power button here. Around the other side here you've got your input. You've got your cold tube mount here, and this is just your battery compartment. Very straightforward. Okay guys, so having a look at the front of the display of the trigger system, I'm going to quickly go over what some of these buttons do here. As I said, they're not labelled in any way, so it's a bit of kind of trial and error here. If I press this top left button, this takes us into the modeling light power to increase it. And what I found is the opposite button down here decreases it. At the top right over here, this increases the flash power and 1/10 of a stop, and this decreases it. So it seems to work in a kind of triangular function, and the top buttons, okay, so you need to press it in to set what it is you're changing. If you press this top button here, that's a quick shortcut key to the groups. I'll put it back to the center. If I press down, it also takes you back to the groups. This would be good if the buttons could be remapped so that I could change them. So we're not using two buttons to do the same thing. I think, me personally, I think that's quite stupid. But I don't know if there's a way to remap it. If someone could leave a comment below, I'd love to be able to find out. If I press the right button here, that takes me a quick shortcut to the channels. Press that to go in, and if we press the left button, also the channel. So we're using 4 buttons to have 2 functions being used, and I'd like to remap them for other things. That was it, just a quick kind of demo on what the front of the buttons do. So you may be wondering if this is the perfect studio light, and the answer is no. There's definitely things I wish they would update, but basically for me, this is the best I could find on the market that is also in an affordable price range. So in front of me here, what I have is a couple of the pros and cons that I have found from the use of the Bowens XMS 1000, and I'm just going to quickly run through them with you guys, and you can decide if these are things maybe to look out for or look elsewhere. So I'll just quickly run through. I'll start with the pros and then I'll go through the cons. So, pros, the build quality is typical Bowens build quality. It's made of good, robust materials. I think it would definitely last a lifetime if you take good care of them. So the next pro feature is the digital readout on the back. There's no analog sort of rotation dials anymore. With the digital readout, it's going to work or it won't. Let's see, the illuminated buttons, these were a big welcome to Bowens. A wee bit late in the market. Welcome to the 21st century, Bowens. The illuminated buttons were fantastic. You can use them in the dark after obviously you get used to the layout of the actual light, because it's the wording that lights up, not the physical buttons. The Bowens is definitely a good looking design. They've overhauled it entirely, and it's very comparable to Profoto's B1 and the Broncolor Cyros line of lights. So the next big positive was the digital readout remote with battery indicator. I've made a quick note here. One of the big things I really liked about this was I liked how the unit would basically communicate with the transmitter and give you that readout and let you know you're at X power with flash and modeling. Battery indicators, just a godsend, a simple thing that seems to be missing from other brands. Next up we have the flash duration. The flash duration is quoted as, I'll pop it on screen because I don't have it to mind right this second. The readily available flash modifiers that are easy to get a hold of. The Bowens S mount is famous. You can get this from any third-party brand as well as Bowens himself. You know, Bowens do make fantastic light modifiers, but they can be quite expensive. So it's always good to know that there's even third-party modifiers out there that you can get a hold of easily. Next up would be the flash color consistency. What I've noticed using some of the other Bowens range of lights is, even with your white bands punched in and everything all in manual, you've got everything set up, and then when you take them into Lightroom to edit them, and suddenly you've got massive color shifts, whether it be, you know, the extra jump in magenta, or it's warmed up, you know, just way too much. Sometimes it can be to the point where it was a great shot, but the flash has ruined it through the color shift. It's something that you try and edit, and it's just a pain in the ass. Something that shouldn't be there. And what I've noticed is this flashlight is a lot more accurate, a lot more consistent. Next up we have it has the ability to auto power dump, but without having to fire a flash first. What I've noticed using other brands of flash is, if you have your light, let's just for talk's sake say, if you've had your light punched up at max, and then you have to drop the power a couple of stops, you could fire a shot and then realise after looking at it, your test shot, your light, it's still firing at full power, at least for the first shot, to dump all the excess power. So the good thing about this flash is it does it internally. It doesn't have to fire that flash first. The next thing is the recharge speed, which I found interesting because you could turn down the speed in which it recharges to help prolong, I'm guessing, the tubes and things. This would be more beneficial to someone who is perhaps a family portrait photographer. You know, if you didn't have to fire off lots of shots and speed wasn't of the essence. So what I'm going to do now is that's all the pros that I can think of. So I'm going to run through some of the cons now. The first thing I noticed with this new design of lights was the loss or lack of the travel pack compatibility. So the travel pack is Bowens' own battery pack system that you used to be able to plug into the lights, and I'll put up an image of that and how it used to connect to the old lights. So it basically means that you're being locked into either a studio light primarily, or you have to go for the more expensive TTL version with the built-in battery. It's not affordable to everyone. The power cord location, this was a funny one. This may have been me just being pernickety, but with the power cord coming out, is at the bottom of the light toward the back end. I'll put up a quick demonstration of one of the times where when I tried to tilt the light, it was an issue with the power cord location. I don't know if it was me just being pernickety, or if it's just one of those things that you can work around it, but it's definitely something to be aware of. The next con definitely is, in this day and age, the modelling light bulb is not LED, but Bowens' other model, the TTL version, has got an LED, so rather than this, like 3-inch long tungsten tube, it's just a much more modern light with the LED, and obviously the lighting itself is going to be different. So I just thought, for this price range in this day and age, it would be nice to have the LED on there. The remote, this baffled me. The remote has features that doesn't actually support the head. So what I mean by that is, when I'm bringing down the power of the modelling lamp, for example, it can bring it down to 0.1. But the modelling light itself on the head only comes down to level 3. So when you bring it past level 3, it just sort of freezes the light, it makes this beeping sound until you bring the power back up to 3, basically being its base level. So I don't understand that. Maybe they can fix that with a firmware update, but definitely something. It was a head scratcher, like why the hell is that there? Next up was the AAA batteries instead of AA batteries in the trigger. Now let's take a quick look at this trigger. This is not a small trigger. I wouldn't mind the trigger being slightly bigger if it meant, squeezing in AA batteries. It's just AAA batteries aren't hard to come by, but it's just another battery type that you need to carry around with you that you could forget. And then obviously it's the actual battery life itself could be an issue. Again, it's just something I wanted to bring up. The next one I've put up here is the buttons on the front being quite clunky, and just the fact that they don't have labels. They're not reprogrammable, so this takes time to get used to. This was definitely an oversight. Bowens, shame. This was definitely something that they could have made better, in my opinion. They could have, self-explanatory. I'm not going into it too much. I'll not rip on them as much as I'd like. This is something they advertise on the site, and this is a misconception for definitely this light in particular. Now, they advertise it as you could use any camera brand. What's their exact wording? Hang on a second. They have sync offset, which enables high-speed sync with any brand camera up to 8,000th of a second. And then after that, on the box it says for leaf shutter cameras. The TTL version has the high-speed sync, where you can go to the 8,000th of a second or whatever. But they've advertised it as being able to do high-speed sync in the studio, which can't happen. So that's just something else to obviously be aware of. And the last con is the fact that Bowens is now in liquidation. Now it says here that it's appointed as joint liquidators by Matthew Haw and Stephen Law. Now I don't know if that means that someone else is about to acquire them, or if this is just the liquidators that are reconstructing. Well, that's it for the Bowens XMS 1000 review. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hated it because this is my first YouTube video, so be gentle. I apologise to anyone who's not in the UK. Us Scots are very hard to understand, I've been told. So be gentle in the comments. But if you do have any questions, definitely, pop them below. If you liked this, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. If you felt indifferent, leave a comment, and I'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.